talking about, about just focusing on that next thing, that God wants. We in our garden we have a path that's got rocks you step on, just stepping stone type rocks. That's the way I see it. You don't see the stepping stone. God just says, take the next step. The stone will be there. The rock is going to be there, to support you. And I think that's the way we have to approach those things. Is just to have that faith that He's going to be there, that assured hope. That's going to be there. Usually throughout the week, God's kind of speaking to me about a few different things, and I kind of see things that kind of, are just around me, that I kind of notice throughout the week, and usually, I'll wake up, Sunday morning, and I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to speak about? I want to be sure that this is what your message is, and this morning, I got up and I was just like, I was trying to find the common thread here that all these things that God's been speaking to me about this past week, and the three things that I came across was His omnipresence, His omniscience, His I'm going to mess this up, omniscience and omnipotence. Yes. The Latin kind of messes with me there. So that was kind of the thing that kind of ran through this all these things that have kind of been. So it may seem kind of scattered, my message today, but these are the things that I see, and that is so important throughout everything that God's saying. Rely on me. I know everything. I know what you're going through. I know I'm all powerful. I can take care of anything. The victory is won. This is a truth that you can stand on. So I'm going to start out in Job, chapter 38. This is in the Amplified translation. You kind of follow along in the King James or New King James, NIV, whatever. It's the same message. I like the Amplified because it kind of rounds out a little bit more, kind of gives a little bit more to support what's being said. And this, I'm going to be a little bit wordy here, so you're going to see me read entire chapters here, but the same thread runs through these different accounts. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now your loins like a man, and I will demand of you, and declare to me, and you declare to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare to me, if you have and know understanding. Who determined the measures of the earth, if you know? Who stretched out the measuring line upon it? Upon what were the foundations of it fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors, and when it broke forth and issued out of the womb? When I made the clouds the garment of it, and the thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and marked for it my appointed boundary, and set bars and doors, and said, Thus far shall you come, and no farther, and here shall your proud waves be stayed. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, so that light may get hold of the corners of the earth, and shake the wickedness of night out of it? It is changed like clay, into which a seal pressed, and these stand out like a many-colored garment. From the wicked their light is withheld, and their uplifted arm is broken. Have you explored the springs of the sea, or have you walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the doors of deep darkness? Have you comprehended the breadth of the earth? Tell me, if you know it all. Where is the way where light dwells, and as for darkness, where is its abode? That you may conduct it to its home, and you may know the paths to its house. You must know since you were born then, or because you are extremely old. Have you entered the treasuries of the snow, or have you seen the treasuries of the hail, which I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war? By what way is the light distributed, or the east wind spread over the earth? Or who has prepared a channel for the torrents of rain, or a path for the thunderbolt, to cause it to rain on the uninhabited land, and on the desert where no man lives, to satisfy the waste and desolate ground, and to cause the tender grass to spring forth? Has the rain a father, or who has begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven, who has given it birth? The waters are congealed like a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Can you bind the chains of the cluster of stars called Pleiades, or loose the cords of the constellation Orion? Can you lead forth the signs of the zodiac in their season, or can you guide the stars of the bear with her young? Do you know the ordinance of the heavens? Can you establish their rule upon the earth? Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, so that an abundance of waters may cover you? Can you send lightnings, that they may go and say to you, here we are? Who has put wisdom in the inward parts, or in the dark clouds, or who has given understanding to the mind, or to the meteor? Who can number the clouds by wisdom, or who can pour out the water bottles of the heavens? When heat has caused the dust to run into a mass of the clods to cleave fast together, can you, Job, hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions? When they couch in their dens, or lie in wait in their hiding place, who provides for the raven its prey when its young ones cry to God and wander about for lack of food? So, we all know this account. We all know how God pretty much confronted Job, and was like, who are you to say this? Who are you, where were you at when the foundations were laid? And that's kind of, we've kind of lost focus as a people of how powerful and how everlasting God is, and I see it everywhere. It's like, it's our job now to save the planet, we can do that. Now, we can help out. We can do things that are more responsible, but God is looking at us, where were you when I made all this? All this is here because of me. And in the three terms that I spoke of, omni means all. It means all, almighty, all present, all knowing. I've spoken about this in the past. I've made no secret that I love science. I grew up loving science. Things that science, they do experiments. I've always been interested in that. When I was little, we had just these little sets. I had a little telescope. I had all these things. I had a microscope. I had all this stuff, and it just fascinated me to look at all this stuff and see these little worlds, on themselves. Put something on a little slide and look at it. It's like moving around, and you're thinking, what kind of world is that? It's completely different from my experience. However, after I become more sensitive to the things of the Spirit, I look at science a little differently. Back then, of course, all throughout school, science tries to be the interpreter of all, the explainer of everything. There were physicists in the past that tried to come up with formulas that can explain the universe. How haughty we are. It's like, how lifted up we are, to our, put ourselves upon that pedestal to explain the universe with one formula. I never got that. I never understood how that would even be possible, because we don't know. We haven't seen everything. We don't know. We look out and we see millions of miles away in the sky, and we try to think that we can put that in a box, and God has created it all, for us to see, for us to look at. So, science I feel science is slowly catching up to prove these things that God is like, I put these here for you to look at, you to observe, the beauty of these things, of the trees, the different, the oceans, the underwater life, it was just it was an amazing thing. First time that we went and snorkeled, and looked down, and just you look down 50 feet and you can see this underwater world. It's like this is hidden away, has been hidden away all my life. I've never actually personally seen it before, but it fascinates me to see that headline after headline, that states some long-held biblical truth, and science is like, we just discovered this. It's all right. Y'all come on up here when you're ready. It's like we know this already. These are things that God has already revealed to His people in His Word. And I'm glad that you quoted the Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, because that's what science looks for. If there's no evidence, but that's the thing. Evidence is all around us. It's how that we as human beings and our enlightened selves, that want to interpret it. It's looking at something from a human perspective and not God's perspective. That's the difference of it. So, I kind of looked over some things, and I thought these were interesting headlines. There's a couple of headlines here, and this is how you can kind of get caught up if you just look at the science, and you just look at the things that we can figure out in our own human minds. There was a story from the science field. I don't remember which magazine or study it was from, but it was from 2017, and the headline was, "Our universe is one massive hologram, and our entire existence is an illusion." So it's like, okay, if you think about it, God created all of us, and we're a spiritual being. We're put here in a physical, temporary world. And if you think about it, if you look at it from God's perspective, it's kind of like, well, He created it. Someone would have to create a hologram. Someone would have to create something, because in this article they mentioned that there's coding that's behind everything, and it's like, well, who put that there? Who's the one that created this existence? It's like they never attributed it. They said, well, there's evidence of coding, there's evidence of this, and it's like, this is a science article. This is an evidence-based science article saying all this. Okay, well, that's fine and everything, but when you start looking too deep into that side and get pulled out of anything with a spiritual mindset or a spiritual view or perspective, then you can make yourself crazy. Another headline that this is going to kind of be a little bit misjointed or whatever, but Lauren and I, we went and watched a movie, and and I knew that this movie was going to be kind of tough to watch, because it deals with an evil. It deals with a really a true evil that we have to deal with, that we're confronted with, in today's world. But this is a big argument now, and there's several states that have like, I know Georgia passed a law that they called it the heartbeat bill, that banned abortions after a heartbeat was sensed, which, I mean, that's not far enough. I don't believe that's far enough. I mean, because here's another science article headline: scientists just captured the flash of light that sparks at the moment of conception. It's amazing, because at the moment of conception, a flash of light, that is life. That's the moment when life starts. They captured it on a camera. It's amazing that they can do that, but it's more amazing the message that is behind that. they proved themselves wrong by doing that. By doing this experiment, they proved themselves wrong. This is something that is now evidence-based, yet they still want to, say that it's just a clump of cells. In Jeremiah 1:5, and this can be applied to all of us. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you and approved of you as my chosen instrument. And before you were born, I consecrated you to myself as my own. I have appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Now there, he's talking about Jeremiah, but this could be applied to everyone. We all have a purpose. He has a plan for everyone. Everyone here today, there's a plan. So, we think that we're smart people. We're the most enlightened of our time. Here on Earth. And we're on the cutting edge of knowledge. We have. No one's ever been this advanced in history. That's what I've always been taught. How many billion years they say that the Earth is years old or whatever, but they claim that this is it. This is as far as we've made it. This is the cream of the crop here. Well, in Ecclesiastes, and I'm sure that everyone knows this verse, Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9 states that which has been in that which will be again, and that which has been done is that which will be done again. So there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which it can be said, it is new? It has already existed, for the vast ages of time recorded or unrecorded, which were before us. There is no remembrance of earlier things, nor also of the later things that are to come. There will be for them no remembrance by generations who will come after them. So if you think about that, we don't know. We don't know. That's where our faith in God has to, that has to rest there. Okay. In the last few years, there's been a push, and this is really going against the mainstream science community, but they've started looking at things older and older and older. Here in North America anyway, they were always told don't dig below a certain level because there's nothing there. You won't find anything. If you went to get a grant to dig below this level, you would most likely not get it, because they were like, okay, you want to dig below this level that we know that humans were at, the earliest form of humans that were in North America, you're not going to find anything. So we're not going to give you the grant. So, they haven't dug below that area, but all over the world, it's like there's other things, there's other evidences of things happening, and that prove the Word of God. Like I said, they just discovered, a few months ago, what they believe is the remnants of the structures of Sodom and Gomorrah, or one or the other over there on the Dead Sea. But anyway, the problem is science has become a religion. Science has become a religion. They don't want any outside. They want it to fit in this box. They don't want anything to influence science, because it is a religion, that it's a closely guarded religion. Now, basically our foundation has to be in Christ, because if it's not, if we're not founded there, and I alluded to something a couple weeks ago. We see all the prophecies that are spoken about in here, where men's hearts are going to fail them for things that are coming upon the earth. These things are going to be so terrifying, so dreadful, and it's going to be something that physically we cannot withstand, without that foundation in that just that, how Israel, when they went from the land of Egypt to the promised land, it's like, don't worry about up here, just look at the cloud, look at the pillar of smoke, look at the pillar of fire. Let's focus on God, and He's going to get you to the next step. And that's the way that we're going to have to be in this time. Because there is going to be a great shaking in the heavens as well as on earth. That these things, you're not going to be able to stand in your own physical strength. You're not going to be able to stay focused in your own physical strength. You're going to have to rely. It's going to be something that you have to come to every day. I need this strength today. I need this focus today. Please show me which way to go. There's a saying, and it's very popular now. It became really popular back in the 80s and 90s, and it's just follow your heart. It's one of those things. It's just follow your heart. When you're not sure which way to go, when you're not sure of what you're supposed to do, just follow your heart. It's a very dangerous thing. It's a very dangerous thing. 1 John chapter 3, verse 20, for whenever our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and He knows everything. So it's not just the danger of following your heart, but your heart can also bring condemnation on you, and it's more of an issue of depression, an issue of condemnation. Your heart will bring those things back up. What about the time of this? God is greater than our heart. He knows everything. He has overcome all those things as long as you've given it to Him. These things cannot. The victory's already won. These things cannot affect us. So with all that, it's like we have to keep our perspective, and that's why I like that hymn, even though it's 2 lines. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Because if you are looking at Him, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter about circumstances. It doesn't matter that this mountain's falling into the sea, and this army's rising up over here. It does not matter as long as your eyes are upon Him. In Isaiah chapter 40, comfort ye, my people, saith your God. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her, that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. The voice of him that crieth in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. The voice said, cry, and he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all goodliness thereof is the flower of the field. The grass wherewith the flower fadeth, because of the Spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever. O Zion, that bringest good tidings, get thee up into the high mountain, O Jerusalem, that bringest good tidings. Lift up thy voice with strength, lift it up, be not afraid. Say unto the cities of Judah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord God will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd, and he shall gather the lambs with his arm, and carry them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those who are with young. Who hath measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted it out heaven with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance? Who hath directed the Spirit of the Lord, or being his counselor hath taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of judgment? and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding. Behold, the nations are as a drop in the bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing, and Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beasts thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing in vanity. To whom then will you liken God, or what likeness will you compare him unto? The workman melteth a graven image, and the goldsmith spread it over with gold, and casteth silver chains. He that is so impoverished that he hath no oblation chooseth a tree that will not rot, and he seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved. Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. That stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. That bringeth the princes to nothing. He maketh judges of the earth as vanity. Yea, they shall not be planted. Yea, they shall not be sown. Yea, their stock shall not take root in the earth. And he shall also blow upon them, and they shall wither. And the whirlwind shall take them away as stubble. To whom then will ye liken me, or shall I be equal? Saith the Holy One. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. Why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel, my way is hid from the Lord, and my judgment is passed over from my God? Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary? There is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, but the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So, like I was saying earlier, we think that we are so enlightened, we are so smart. We've got, I'm sure some people can show a bunch of certificates, or degrees, or framed medals, or whatever, Nobel prizes that they've accomplished these things, and they weigh these things out. But God says, those things are, those don't weigh out in my kingdom. Those things are rubbish. They're just trash. It's clear that God knows what he created. It's clear that he knows all the inner workings. It's also clear that we do not. There's no searching of his understanding. It's futile. To understand God, to put him in a box. We can't put him in a box. So what makes us think that we can put all of creation in a box, and understand everything? You can't take a graduate program to understand God and his ways. It's simple as that. His ways are higher than ours. And it kind of leads me to, talking about the mechanics of things. And when Albert Einstein was doing his theory of general relativity, I believe it was that one. He was the one trying to come up with the formula that explained everything. He started looking into quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and he found out that there was a certain particle that if it changed, it would change over here too. Like whatever the change was, it would immediately happen faster than the speed of light. Technically, by his standards, that was not possible. He He deemed it spooky action at a distance because he couldn't explain it. That's where we are. We can't explain a lot of this stuff. We can't. Now scientists just label it quantum entanglement, as if that explains it any better. So I guess quantumly they get entangled somehow. I'm really not sure how that explains it, because they don't touch. They're somehow linked together, but they don't touch. And God is like, don't try to understand this. This is something that I did for creation. This is one of the building blocks that I used for creation. This is something that's higher than you. This is something that you cannot understand. One day science might catch up and say, "Oh, we figured this out." Well, okay, yeah, it does say something here. But I want to end with this, because it like I said, it was a little bit disjointed today, but I think that our perspective has to be on Him, that He is all-knowing, He is all ever-present. He is almighty. The only one who knows how everything fits together, and the only one that knows the past, the future, the present, everything that's going on. Everything is it's like a symphony, and He's the conductor. He knows the end of it. He knows how to get everyone to cue everything. It's such a picture of it. When you look at it, you see just your small part that you can see, and then you've got to rely on God. You've got to have your faith in God for the rest of it, because we don't know. In Psalm 139, O Lord, you have searched me thoroughly and have known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up, my entire life, everything I do. You understand my thought from afar. You scrutinize my path and my lying down. And you are intimately acquainted with all my ways. Even before there is a word on my tongue, still unspoken, behold, O Lord, you know it all. You have enclosed me behind and before, and you have placed in your hand upon me. Such infinite knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is too high above me, I cannot reach it. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, the netherworld, the place of the dead, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the dawn, if I dwell in the remotest part of the sea, even there your hand will lead me, and your right hand will take hold of me. If I say, surely this darkness will cover me, and the night will be the only light around me, even the darkness is not dark to you and conceals nothing from you. But the night shines as bright as the day. Darkness and light are alike to you, for you formed my innermost parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will give thanks and praise to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret, and intricately and skillfully formed, as if embroidered with many colors in the depths of the earth. Your eyes have seen my unformed substance, and in your book were all written the days that were appointed for me, when as yet there was not one of them even taking shape. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How vast is the sum of them. If I could count them, they would outnumber the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. It's a wonderful thought, So God is in control, whether you accept it or not. And a lot of us like to have hold of the wheel, and it's hard to let go. It's hard to take that next step when you don't know if there's a stone there to step on. That is a really tough thing. But just as Hebrews 11:1, faith. I'm going to get it mixed up if I don't look at it. But faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. things that are hoped for assured to us. So, you know, I guess that's pretty much my message this morning. Is just we've got to continue to look to Him and have Him as our foundation. If we're not founded on Him, if we're not looking at Him, I mean, you know, when everything starts shaking, you know, we're going to fall. So it's just an ever-present thing. It's every day, you know, every minute. You know, it's so easy to get distracted. You know, we've seen that in the movie. You know, it's just so easy to get distracted and doing our own work and forgetting or not seeing what's right there around us. You know, those things that are taking over.